The off-season's here. This is Bengals on the Brain. I'm Joe Goodberry, part of the Cincinnati Bengals Talk YouTube network. And if you haven't followed me or followed my work I've been doing draft work for 13. This might be my 14th year doing player profiles or projections, mock drafts. You know, when it started a long time ago on the internet, it was just mock drafts, and then it became scouting reports were the things to do. And then when the film became more accessible, you saw more player evaluation in video form. And I've done all that throughout the years, and that's why I like the offseason. That's why I get excited about this time of year. Despite the season being over for our Cincinnati Bengals, I still want to get to the draft prospects. I still want to get to the evaluation part of everything. And I don't watch college football. I may have said this on the last episode. If you're just watching now and maybe trying to see what I'm going through here, I don't watch too much college. I see a few games. I see a few players. I'll get conferences wrong. I'll get team names wrong. I honestly will watch 10 games and not know the score of any of them once I start watching the film. The draft season kicks off in Mobile, Alabama with the Senior Bowl, the Reese's Senior Bowl. And it's a good time. I didn't get to go this year. Didn't plan on going. I kind of missed it watching it, not being down there to watch the players firsthand and talk to people and pick brains and just have a good time with the other draft nicks around the world. But I did watch practices. I did cut clips. I did get intrigued and look things up and start diving into some of these guys. I watched the game a couple times now and tried to focus on a few players that I thought stood out or I thought would be fits for the Bengals. And we're going to start our process there. So I let the people stand out to me. I didn't really have an agenda. I didn't know who was going to do what, line up where. To be honest with you, I probably recognized one name out of everyone at the Senior Bowl this week watching the coverage. That's okay, though. I want fresh eyes on these guys. But I couldn't take my eyes off a few offensive linemen, so we're going to look at them. One guy I want to talk about now that he only practiced the first day and then split. You guys would probably have a background on this guy's character more than I will, not knowing him, but it was Dawand Jones, the right tackle out of Ohio State. At least he was playing right tackle in this game. And, I mean, the guy is huge. First of all, 6'8" and like 350, 360. And then he had an 89.5-inch wingspan, which if your wingspan is supposed to represent how tall you are, if you put your hands on the ground and put your other hand up and you like make a mark on the wall and then go stand there, that's how tall you are typically. 89-inch wingspan means he should be 7'5". I mean, that's freaky stuff. He could scratch his ankles standing straight up. I really wanted to see him all week, but he had such a great first week of practice that he kind of like walked off. It's like running the 40, running a 4.2 and just saying, I'm done with the combine. Maybe. I don't know what the deal was there. He looked really good. He looked really long, strong, and technique-wise, I was happy with. So I can't wait to watch him more. I would have film on him or we'd discuss him longer if he would have stayed, but can't give Dawand Jones that much airtime when you don't finish the week off and do it in the game. So we're going to start on the defensive side first. I want to start with a couple defensive tackles that stood out to me. I'm partial to defensive tackle. I like the one-on-ones with O-line, D-line, and that's where my focus was this week mostly. And I remember a few years ago, it's actually been a long time now. The guy may retire in the next couple of years. But Aaron Donald came into the Senior Bowl as a second-round pick. A lot of people thought too small, not good enough against the run. And then you saw how fast he was, how intense he was, his power at that size, at 285. And people were like, whoa, this guy's going to go a lot higher. So anytime I see another guy, Grady Jarrett, there's been a bunch. There's been a slew. I think you can stand out at the Senior Bowl in the trenches with the one-on-one drills. So I wanted to start with there and two guys that caught my eye. First guy that caught my eye was Wisconsin's Keeanu, Benton, defensive tackle, 6'3.5", 312 pounds. He also had 33-inch arms. He's got some quickness, got some power, has a lot of different moves that he can go to. He likes to arm over move, but I think when you have power, you can use that as a very nice counter, and I think you see that a lot here. He had some, like day 2, day 3, I thought of practice, guys were starting to catch on to his moves a little bit, and they weren't fooling people as much. He really struggled with this Michigan center. I thought all week in practice, the Michigan center looked really good, but we're not going to talk about him today. But Benton, though, someone sent out the comparison. I want to say it was Jim Nagy, who's director of the Senior Bowl, said he reminds him of DJ Reader.
And I thought that was interesting. I think Reader is stronger, but at the same time, Reader needed to develop that as a fourth rounder, and into the NFL he got better and better at it. But Benton, his strength is supposed to be against the run with a little bit of juice as a pass rusher. You're going to see him here get washed out just a little bit out of the play and then get driven into the second level. I mean, that if you're a good run defender, that's not what you want to see. But he's going to get back at Cody Mauch here and shed him a little too late, but still does his job. I thought he had a quiet game, though. There was a couple plays where he gets in here, you see him swipe the hand down, get skinny, turn his shoulders, and get a hit on the quarterback. Really like this play for him, but it's really he only had this is the only flash play. A couple other plays that weren't really good for film that you couldn't really see from the TV angle. Here he's just going to take on the center and the right guard and allow his other defensive tackle to loop around and get back inside. Next up is Adetomiwa Adebawore from Northwestern. Now this guy's a little bit thinner at 284 pounds at 6'1.5", 34-inch arms, longest wingspan of all defensive linemen. He's got the juice to him, man. He's got the athleticism. You see those little jump moves that he has, his little crossover in his pass rushes, but then to be able to stay on balance here and really cut this corner, he would have gotten a sack there if he doesn't get held. That is a legit call. And then watch this power as he gets inside and drives this guy backwards twice on the same play. His intensity and his energy was extremely high. I didn't see much in the game.
So I wouldn't say either of those guys stood out in terms of now your first round picks. I don't, maybe Keeanu Benton's a round 2 guy, maybe round 3. I don't know projections. I haven't even looked at this stuff yet. I don't want to know until I go watch the film. So that's the next step for me. So I get the Senior Bowl, who stood out, who didn't, who did I like, who intrigued me, and then now let's go watch the tape of them, which I'm going to do in the next week. So our show may be on the guys next week, or be on the guys that we like full evaluation on how I feel about Dawand Jones film or Keeanu Benton or Adebawore, from Northwestern. How do we feel about those guys on tape? So I think Adebawore was a much more intriguing guy to me because of that raw athleticism. Can that translate? I didn't see. Looking at his, I went and looked at his stats real fast. That's all I did. And I believe I wrote it down, 17.5 tackles for loss, 9.5 sacks. Keeanu Benton had 15 tackles for loss, 7 sacks. These are the last just 2 years. I just wanted to see the last 2 years. Normally, defensive tackles, they only play those finals a couple of years, and those are the stats I try to isolate. Similar type competition, I would assume, Northwestern and Wisconsin. But Adebawore, just that burst, that intensity. I loved, after drills, he was sprinting back to the line to get ready and get his hand down. He was like a high motor dude, just constantly churning, and matched the power and agility and had enough moves to make it work. And at 284, he played some defensive end at Northwestern, going to kick inside. That's the only thing that really scares me. I like the guys that played more inside more often. I think they're more ready to contribute. Progression won't be as bad for them, but maybe you can kick him inside early in nickel and get a rush from him. But the offensive lineman, the right tackle that did stand out to me, is next. I really like this guy off just this week. I'm hoping his tape matches, because at this point I'm looking at him like, what did the Bengals pick? 28, 29. But because the Dolphins don't have a pick, they're at 28. That's probably important to know. I'll be more clear on that next time. The next guy is Darnell Wright, offensive tackle from Tennessee.
I saw a few big right tackles, big power right tackles, man. It got me excited. Darnell Wright, first up out of Tennessee. He only played in 15 games, 12 of them coming in the final year here. He really shows a little bit of rawness, but man, that power in his punch, you see that right there to the face? It might be a little hands to the face, but he stuns guys with that initial punch and then regathers and regains control. He is really long, 6'5", 342, all bit of 342 pounds too. It's really hard to get through him, and 34 and an 1/8-inch arms. He's not lacking any bit of size. And actually, I don't think he's lacking any bit of athleticism. I think he's a bit raw in deep pass protection, 5-7 step drops. But I thought he did it in the game more than I expected. And there's him getting beat with speed around the edge. This is the guy that gave him trouble though, McDonald. That's the guy I'm gonna have to watch later. But everyone else he handled more than fine. And I'm interested to see when I watch the tape This looks like La'el Collins, right? How he can't finish around the arc and stay on his feet. And then we'll get to the game in a second where I thought he looked really good. But I think that's what you're looking for at the end of the first round. Young guys that are 21, maybe he doesn't have a lot of experience, so he's got room to grow, right? That means you're going to have some issues early, and there's going to be some things to teach him, but maybe he's a sponge. Maybe he's moldable still at this age. And this is a guy that just, like, in and out moves seem to get him. If you can get him all 342 pounds going one way and then you come back in, if he misses on that punch, well, then you got something. And I want to see right there, Ivan Pace comes up and just lays the lumber on him so he can't climb up to the second level for a failed run block by Wright there. But you see here how he got that initial push on the guy, and then he controlled him throughout. So let's watch him again. Come out, try to get the run block, seal the edge, see how he throws the defensive end upfield. Big fan of that. Now you got a pass rush here and just completely overpower that rusher. That rusher's knees are buckling. You got a wide 9 rusher now. This guy's coming from very far outside. You've got to be able to lock him out, ride him around the arc. He does a great job. So I think you've got a lot of upside with a guy like this. You've got a lot of potential with a guy like this. I think his punch is strong. I think his hands are strong. I think he's got decent hands for a guy who hasn't played a lot. I was surprised to see how little he's played, because you see a lot of these snatch trap blocks. You see how he reads the leverage. The guy tries to go in with the long arms, and he just knocks him down and finishes him. I mean, you're telling me he's only started or played in 15 collegiate games? Wow.
Yeah, Wright's really intriguing. Really, really intriguing. He looks like a plug and play. You'll have some bumps because he's young and hasn't started a lot, but plug and play type right tackle. I mean, if you upgrade that position for the Bengals this year, even if Jonah Williams is your starting left, Volson, Karras, Kappa, and then a Darnell Wright in round 1, I think you go from the floors here, you raise the floor from where it was the previous year. That's how you get the ceiling up. That's how you get, he could be a starter for the next 5 years for you if all things go right. And you're happy. And the thing that Bengals really struggle with on the O-line is typically they've gotten a little bit bigger, but they have a lot of smaller, medium to lesser athletes, average to lesser athletes on their offensive line. I'm really interested to see how Darnell Wright will test at 340 pounds. Where does that put him? Same with when we get to Dawand Jones. Are these guys going to be able to test well? If you test well at that size, you won't see them. They'll go before 28. If they don't test well, think of like the Orlando Browns that completely flunked the combine and go in round 3. I want to say end of round 3. So it gives you some wiggle room. Doesn't mean they're going to be good or bad. No, you typically like the better athletes. Bengals could use an athlete that has some size. Ideally, those guys go top 15. So how well will Darnell Wright test? I think he looked athletic enough, especially when he climbed up the second level a couple times. Remind me of La'el Collins this year, and some people may not be completely excited about that. But when you get a 21-year-old La'el Collins, I think we'll take that. And he's got more length and size on him than La'el does. So next, I want to stay with the offensive line, and someone that we'll probably recognize a little bit. This guy is super fun. He's missing front teeth. He's got long hair. You should see, like, when they get a first down, this guy's sliding on the ground, pointing first down, going crazy. He's an offensive lineman doing this. He was a teammate of Cordell Volson last year, so that program, North Dakota State, just pumps guys out at the FCS level. They've had quite a few guys drafted now. Dylan Radins a couple years ago. I think that was the same school. Just go with it, right? This might be the third guy here, and Cody Mauch.
Next on the offensive line, we got Cody Mauch. And if that helmet looks familiar, that means you watched Cordell Volson tape last year, and you know they are run-blocking offense there at North Dakota State University. Cody's 6'5", 305 pounds. He played tackle, and this week he played a lot of guard and center. He actually played some tackle in the game as well. And I thought he had a really good week for what he is. Now, he's got 32-inch arms, so he's probably going to kick inside. But at 6'5", he's got the height. So maybe he's like a Caleb McGarry, who ended up going in the first round a couple years ago, 4 years ago, I think it was. He can move, and he plays with good power for a guy that doesn't always get the best leverage. I think sometimes he's over his toes a little bit here, like he is right there, but he's got good grip strength and good hand placement, so they're able to keep winning. And then here I think he gets a little high and gets beat by a much quicker, faster player there. And you wonder if it's just speed of the game. Anytime you move up in these Senior Bowl games, you wonder. And here's a couple plays of him at tackle just in case he maybe could play there or start there if you needed to. It'll be something I dig for when I watch Cody Mauch.
So we've looked at 2 defensive tackles, 2 offensive linemen. I've mentioned one other that I want to go see. There's a few other guys I'd like to go walk back and watch. Luke Musgrave, tight end out of Oregon State, and offensive lineman John Michael Schmitz out of Minnesota. Both guys caught my eye more than a few times. There's a few offensive linemen, honestly, in this Senior Bowl. I thought the team that Darnell Wright was on, all 5 guys looked like they're going to go in the top 2.5 to 3 rounds. It looked like an NFL offensive line. They gelled pretty quickly. They looked really, really good. They were the dominant force out there, I think, of all the units playing on Saturday. Having said that, last but not least, because we're not done yet, so we did some trenches. I didn't look at any of the linebackers too heavily. I've got a couple guys written down that flashed. Didn't focus on them in the game. Got a couple corners that flashed. Didn't focus on them in the game. I'll get to those. I think when we start this process, I'm going to start with O-line, and then I think D-line, because I feel like those are the 2 most likely to be drafted. The other position I'll go to right next after that, will be running back, because I don't think they'll sign a running back in free agency. I think this is a year that they draft one, and the guy that caught everyone's attention because of the explosiveness, because of the speed, because of the hands, the route running, was Tyjae Spears out of Tulane.
I'm telling you right now, the guy I want is Tyjae Spears from Tulane, this running back here. And he just wowed me the entire week of practice. I actually had to go and watch tape, the first tape I watched all year of any player, just because this guy was so smooth, so sick in his route runnings, caught the ball very well. Looked electric, looked elusive. I saw numbers that he was the most elusive back in college football last year. He had 1,800 total yards. He had 21 total touchdowns just last year at 5'9.5", 204 pounds. They thought he'd come in at about 190. He didn't. He came in over 205 or over 200 pounds at 204. That's what you want to see, man. His route running was excellent. And you see the way he catches the ball there. But watch this route here, too. So he's covered. That cut, oh my. Like, we need that. We need a guy that can do this in a one-on-one situation. Everyone's covered downfield. They want to double Higgins and Chase. Fine. Let our man cut down here. Let him work. So how does he pass protect, right? Because that's going to get him on the field. Well, he is 204, so he got bulldozed right there. But he starts to pick it up, and he's fighting, and he's going to fight through it. And I've got a few plays here where he's going to get a little bit better each time and start to get it and start to really get in there. Remember, Giovanni Bernard was not very big, but he was smart and he was willing. So let's cut on the tape and let's see what Tyjae Spears can do. Can he make guys miss? Can he be strong? Can he break long runs? The Bengals need to get some explosive runs out of their running game. Yes, I think that's exactly what he can do. I want to see athletes. I want to see the ball in your hands, make somebody miss, make a play, get down and score. And it looks like he can do that. He stepped out of bounds right here, but still, crazy play, right? We got a little all-22 wide-angle shot here, as you see, up the middle and some inside runs from the shotgun, which, again, we want to see that as well. Make a few guys miss, cut it all the way back. There's going to be more tape on him. I'm going to take my time. This is from the game here. This is really, he didn't have too much going on in the game. But he made Keeanu Benton fall from behind.
Bengals got to get more explosive at running back. Tyjae Spears, man. I couldn't. There's a lot more clips. Like I almost want to spend a full video just on him, and we might, because I can already tell right now he's going to be a draft crush for every single fan base that's out there that's doing mock drafts and doing these mock draft machines. They're going to look at this guy and be like, I want him because I think he's projected 4th round. I don't see how unless he's older. That's the thing. Like maybe he tests poor. Maybe he's like 23 years old. Because I see he played 4 years in college. That sometimes will be things we see the tape or we see the performances at the Senior Bowl. Like, man, look at this guy. Oh, he's 24. Cody Mauch, actually, is 24. Similar to Cordell Volson, man. They keep those guys a couple extra years there and make sure they're overpowering some 18 and 19-year-olds their final year at North Dakota State. But I believe Darnell Wright's 21. That's a good thing. I got to see the ages of the D tackles. I didn't look that up. I didn't look at Tyjae Spears. These are all future things. The data comes after. Sometimes I want to know if they're good players first. Do they have the attributes I'm looking for? Do they have the skills I'm looking for? And then I let the data say, whoa, or yeah, turn the key. So we'll get that in the next couple months. We've got the combine. We've got other things that we'll add to it, and I'll show you guys all that of everything I do. But yeah, Tyjae Spears probably going to do a whole video. Probably going to do a whole video on Dawand Jones and Darnell Wright. I want to compare and contrast them if we can. See if there's one that... I think that's the best way to do it anyways. See if one separates. Like who should be higher. Because I've seen lists already now where one guy's way higher than the other and one guy's way higher than the other. So we should decide that on how we feel. Or maybe we don't come to a conclusion. But the defensive tackles as well. Sounds like there's a guy from Pitt that I'm supposed to be looking at because a lot of people keep sending me his name. If you want a smaller, quicker, faster pass rusher inside, this guy we got to watch. So that's where we'll go. That's Senior Bowl week. That's kicking off the draft. Just getting a taste of these prospects. At least you can say you've seen them if you don't watch college football like me. And we'll keep progressing and keep going through. I'll probably have other videos and try and link those on my Twitter page, and you should follow on Twitter. I mean, I got on Twitter for draft season in like 2009. Who'd they draft in 2009? Pop quiz. Andre Smith. Yeah, I think it was. Anyways, that was the rebuild of the O-line. But I was on Twitter at that time for the discussion, for the sharing of videos and links and film and just banter back and forth with Draftniks, guys that work at ESPN, to NFL.com, all the way guys that are just on pop-up websites. It's great. It's good for it. And you should join if you're not. That's a good season to join for it. And then we'll dip into free agency once that slices us down the middle of draft season in mid-March, and we'll jump into there. But that's it. That's Senior Bowl. It's wrapped. I can't even tell you which team won. Doesn't matter. It's all about player evaluation. Until next time.